Hello and welcome to Money Control. Today we have with us Rana Safi, author, scholar, translator, historian, who has been committed to India's rich legacy and cultural heritage. She has written close to 10 books, mostly non-fiction, in fact, all non-fiction until now, on ranging from culture, history, and monuments of India. From translating Zahir Dehlvi's Dastan-e-Gadar on the 1857 mutiny to Sir Syed Ahmad Khan's pivotal piece on Delhi, Asarus Sanadin, to writing the Delhi trilogy. And now we have with us her recent work, which is a fiction, a historical novel, A Firestorm in Paradise, recently released. It is also on the 1857 uprising. Rana Safiji grew up in Lucknow. She lived in Saudi Arabia. She has taught history and she moved to Delhi. And since then, Delhi has been her home and her muse. As Zok would say, Kaun jaye par Zok, Delhi ki galiyan chhod ke. So, welcome, Rana Safiji.
Thank you so much.
Now, Rana Safi आप बताइए, you grew up in Lucknow, right? So,
Yes.
Awadh history did not draw you as much as Delhi's history did. And at what age did this fascination with Delhi begin?
That is something that I find very difficult to explain कि मैंने दिल्ली के ऊपर क्यों लिखना शुरू किया. I started writing when I was quite old. I was 55 years old. I had just shifted back from the Gulf, the Middle East, where we've been living for 10 plus years. And यहाँ जब मैं दिल्ली आई, then I like to feel कि शायद दिल्ली ने मुझे बुलाया. I don't know कि क्या था, लेकिन I went on some heritage walks and I thought, I'd write one history of Delhi, maybe all the monuments in one book. And then when I went to Mehroli, I realized कि, like one book is insufficient to do justice to Delhi. So out of that came three books. And then while I was writing those books, I was referring to a lot of Urdu accounts. And then I ended up translating them also. And this historical novel, is because during the COVID, when I couldn't go out and I couldn't, like go in the field or research, so I used all the knowledge that I had through these books and all to write historical fiction.
Tell me about your penchant for this one pivotal incident, a watershed moment in India's history, which is the 1857 uprising. In our history books, when we were growing up, we were taught it as the revolt of 1857. And then later we learned about Sepoy Mutiny and the first war of Indian independence. But somewhere you've said that it was not the first war of Indian independence. Could you talk about that a little?
For a war of Indian independence, first of all, the concept of India as a nation was not there. This was, like he was the Shenshai Hindustan. Hindustan was referred to as the northern part of India. And the other thing is that, in the, I call it an uprising of 1857 because not everybody took part. For it to be Indian independence, it has to be pan India. But these were the soldiers from Awadh, from Bihar and Madhya Pradesh and Delhi, only these areas. Plus, the many of the rulers did not side with Bahadur Shah Zafar. Only very few did. Like the Nahar Singh of Vallabhgarh, the Jujaru and the Loharu. They are the only one. Some of them who came. The rulers of Rajasthan did not. Like there were many regiments which came from Rajasthan and joined the Indian sepoys, but the rulers did not join. You have this Rautullah Ram of Revat, I think this place is called. He joined, and Wajid Ali Shah, of course, had already gone away by then. He was already in exile in Calcutta, but his wife Hazrat Mahal joined. Nana Sahab joined. Rani Lakshmi Bai joined. But it was, as I said, again not pan India. It was just really restricted to this, what is called the Hindi Patti. Let's put it
Hmm.
that way. And
Hmm.
the soldiers that came to fight against the Indian sepoys were the army of the Maharaja of Patiala. So it was they who were fighting. British were a handful. How could they have like ousted or won anything unless they were? And these soldiers who also revolted against or mutiny because in an army, if you go against your superiors, it's called a mutiny. That's why it was called mutiny by the British. Although later on, a lot of people joined, and ordinary and regular folks, not just the army.
let's talk about Shahjahanabad. This we know Shahjahanabad as Old Delhi, but it is not what it was during the Mughals. How many times has it changed the face of the Shahjahanabad? And also, it is we know it as Purani Delhi, but was it the Purani Delhi back then? Because Delhi was made up of so many Delhis. ये बहुत लोग कहते हैं ना कि दिल्ली का तो कोई अपना नहीं है. It doesn't have a language of its own, doesn't have a, like, unlike the other metros. So can you talk a little about who all made up Delhi and how it has been changing?
When I was writing the book on Shah Jahanabad, one of the first things that surprised me was that there were two delegates. Now, जो दरवाजे जितने gateways हैं in the city, even where the old city like Mehroli, all these had gateways which were named after the direction in which they were going to, the road in which direction it was going, and the Qila Mubarak or the Lal Qila has one delegate inside and one delegate outside. So it was very clear that when I started researching that पुरानी दिल्ली जो थी वो थी जिसको आज हम लोग साउथ दिल्ली कहते हैं and it's the poshest area. But
Really?
नई दिल्ली जो थी वो ये शाहजहानाबाद थी. Delhi gates were leading to Mehroli. So that's
Right.
in my first book I've written that the real old Delhi or the
Right.
old
In
city of Delhi or something like that.
जी, बिल्कुल. In the book also, there's somewhere you talk about how Raja Dehlu से दिल्ली पड़ा, नाम दिल्ली का. And then whoever came to rule Delhi, whether that be the Mughals or before the Mughals or after the Mughals, the British, ज़्यादा दिन they couldn't rule Delhi. So this is also, as we know it colloquial, the curse of Delhi. Can you talk a little about that?
दिल्ली का कर्स क्या बताइए है कि दिल्ली सात सात दफे पॉपुलर इट्स अ वेरी रोमांटिक बिलीफ बिकॉज दैट्स द सेम थिंग एज द रोमन फॉर रोम के सेवन सिटीज ऑफ रोम सो दैट इज व्हाई इट सेड सेवन सिटीज ऑफ दिल्ली but every ruler that came tried to build his own capital and ruled around that and they wanted to build their own citadels. कुछ बचे हैं कुछ नहीं बचे हैं कुछ की दीवारें बची हैं कुछ भी नहीं बचा हुआ है जैसे फिरोज शाह कोटला है या पुराना किला है उसमें से सब कुछ निकल गया because people foraged for material stones etc from the older cities.
शायद आपने किसी इंटरव्यू में कहा था कि व्हेन द इंग्लिश वर pushing people out of the city, पहले मुस्लिम butchers को निकाला, फिर हिंदू milkmen को निकाला because they thought that they were dirtying the city. And then Bahadur Shah Zafar said कि please erect my tent next to them because I want to be next to my people. So can you talk a little bit about that, like the person that he was?
That is the story that is given in Dastane-Qadar. Dastane-Qadar, Zahir Dehlvi was 22 years old at the time of the uprising of 1857. He was a courtier and he was a disciple also of Bahadur Shah Zafar. So he used to come very regularly to the Qila and he's recorded all that. So when and another thing that to keep in mind is that after the fall of Delhi, Zahir Dehlvi fled with his family and his wife from Delhi and he went and like he was on the run till almost 1864 when he was like given an indemnity by the Nawab of Rampur, got an indemnity for him and he came back to Shah Jahanabad. So he was on the run from the British. He knew their power. And when he wrote this book in the early 20th century, just before he passed away, the British was still firmly in control. And it was, like the what should I say, that the project of that, showing the Mughals as very black had already started because they had, that theme that, India's golden period was interrupted by the barbarous Muslims who came. And that is why, you have the Muslim period, it's called the Muslim period. So these things, were there at that time. And yet, when Zahir Dehlvi talks of the Badshah's inclusivity, that is what I felt, that it has so much of weightage because he did not have any reason to, really praise the Badshah. Let's put it that way. Plus, there are so many other books of that period, I was just reading today morning, I was reading some passage where it says, there's this 18th century Urdu writer and who says, कि दिवाली तो हम सबका है.
Hmm.
होली सबका त्योहार है. So you have these kind of descriptions given of किस तरह से होली celebrate हो रही है, किस तरह से दिवाली celebrate हो रही है. In fact, I often say कि if you look at Mughal miniatures, you'll find many miniatures of like Jahangir होली celebrate कर रहे हैं. दिवाली के like the जिसको जश्न चिरागा कहते थे या
Hmm.
ईद
Hmm.
चिरागा कहते थे. And you have Muhammad Shah playing Holi, but I have not found anything that like shows them कि ईद मना रहे हो. शब बारात
Hmm.
के अगेंस्ट जरूर नौरोज और शब रात की तस्वीरें होती हैं, but
Hmm.
नौरोज is again a cultural festival which is like comes from Iran. It is again not religious. So this kind of atmosphere was, again, as I had said for Zahir Dehri, the same thing for Munshi Faizuddin, who wrote Bazme Akhir in 1885. And he was asked by the publishers that, before everybody who's been an eyewitness to the court, Mughal court, should die, please record it. He was one of the courtiers of Bahadur Shah and would go there every day. So when he is writing, again, as I said, there's no reason for them to praise the Basha unnecessarily, because he is no longer the Basha. He is in exile and dead, and it's the
Hmm.
British who are ruling.
In one of the sections, there's an explanation of something that we hear on our news channels every day. Like, there's a tendency, or the current zeitgeist of look back in anger, matlab vengeance against the Mughal rulers. But there, I think I don't recall who was telling whom, but about how it were the slave dynasty rulers, the Kutubuddin Aibak, जो आए थे, and they destroyed temples and built mosques and stuff. मुगलों के जमाने में भी ये हुआ है.
देखो ये ना power is something that's like it is, as they say,
Corrupts,
actually.
absolutely.
So this kind of demolition of religious buildings of the people before you was something to establish your power. It is also there's this historian called Finbar Flood, who has written a lot about all these things, about how the spoiler was used for making other buildings. Because there is a limit to, or an extent of how much, limit to how much of stone you can procure, how much of building material you can procure. So that is why recycling is always there. As I said, like Firosha Kotla, the city was, the stones from there were used in Shah Jahanabad. The stones of Siri and Jahanpana were used for the building Firosha Kotla. So this kind of recycling has always happened. It's only when it comes to religion that people become like very sensitive about it. So the people who are much far more qualified than I am to write about this, like Finbar Flood, etc., have written a lot on this. And
Okay.
again, establishing of power is something that every monarch wants to do. And in this book by Richard Eaton, like India in the Persianate Age, he starts by describing the two raids, one by Mahmud Ghazni and one by Rajendra Chola. They both go and break the temples of Chola goes to Bengal and he breaks a temple there. Mahmud Ghazni comes to Somnath and breaks a temple there. And the only difference is that the Chola brings back the statue, the idol, and installs it in his kingdom, in his the temple in his kingdom. So again, this, as I said, was establishment of your authority, and the best way to do that is through religion.
Right. Acha, in today's time, there is a certain disdain for historians. How do you see your role today in rescuing history, and how do you see the role of translation in rescuing history?
Rescuing history, I like that. What I see my role as is something that actually happened very organically. It's not something I planned or anything. I was just writing about history. I was writing about the things I knew, about the things I'm fond of, about the things I researched. And it just so happened that like the it also got translated into writing books as such. But for me, I do something, I write a post almost every day on social media on some aspect of history or the other. And it's I feel that once we have this, like narrative history or popular history out in the public domain, the the extent of misinformation and fake history becomes less.
What came as a surprise to me is this, what you start your book with. which we wrongly attribute to Amir Khusro. Gal Firdaus Baru e Zaminast, Haminast, which we attributed for Kashmir, was actually written for Red Fort. Is
Yes,
it?
that is something I researched for my book on Shah Jahanabad. That this verse, I talked to a lot of Persian scholars. ये तो मैंने पहले भी सुना हुआ था कि ये हज़रत अमीर खुसरो का नहीं हो सकता, because there is no, like it's not in any of his divans. So and plus it's a very ordinary verse for somebody who wrote such complex poetry in Persian. तो इसलिए ये तो पता था कि मतलब ये एट्रीब्यूशन है, इट्स लाइक बिकॉज उन्होंने, ही इज वन ऑफ द, मतलब नॉट वन, ही इज इन फैक्ट द फर्स्ट पोएट जिसने हिंदुस्तान की बहुत तारीफ की है इन हिज बुक कॉल्ड नूह सिफर, where he talks of the climate, of the fruits and the flowers and the people, etc of Hindustan. तो इसलिए ये एक पॉपुलर मेमोरी में था। अच्छा, क्योंकि दिस डिस्क्राइब्स जन्नत, कश्मीर को जन्नत ही कहते हैं, तो बहुत दफे ये कश्मीर के लिए इस्तेमाल हुआ, बल्कि टिल आई डिडंट स्टार्ट रिसर्चिंग आई वाज टोल्ड कि ये जहांगीर ने कहा था कश्मीर के लिए, एंड समबडी आल्सो टोल्ड मी कि ये शालीमार गार्डन्स के पवेलियन, ब्लैक पवेलियन में लिखा हुआ है। तो मैं कश्मीर गई, मैंने पूरा ऊपर से नीचे तक एक एक चीज माइक्रोस्कोप से ढूंढी कि कहाँ लिखा हुआ है। देन व्हेन आई केम बैक, देन आई वाज लाइक टोल्ड बाय हिस्टोरियन कासमी साहब कि ये फला फला, ये ताहिर वो है खान, उनकी उसमें लिखा हुआ है, दीवान में लिखा है। सो फिर वी टुक परमिशन, देन वी वेंट टू द नेशनल म्यूजियम, वहां पे उनकी आर्काइव्स में देखा, तो मिल तो गया हमको वो शेर कि ये दिल्ली के लिए, लाल किले के लिए लिखा गया, ये सब तो मिल गया, बट उसमें भी ये लिखा था कि ये अमीर, लाइक बकौल अमीर खुसरो. So popular perception is his, but like for me, if you go logically, and because this is what is written in a lot of the 19th and 18th 19th century books, that ये सादुल्ला खान ने लिखा था. अच्छा, सादुल्ला खान वजीर थे, and he was in charge of the construction also, and पूरे जो वो महल है उसमें बहुत सारे वर्सेस लिखे हुए हैं पर्शियन में जो सादुल्ला खान ने लिखे तो डिस्क्राइब द कंस्ट्रक्शन. एंड इन वन ऑफ द बुक्स ऑन क्या कहते हैं ऑन द रेड फोर्ट, आई फाउंड दैट एक जगह है कि जब ये शाहजहां ने इनॉग्रेट किया था किले को, तो जब वो आए थे उन्होंने दरबार किया था इन दीवाने खास, एंड ही आस्क्ड ऑल द पोएट्स टू राइट वर्सेस इन प्रेज ऑफ द फोर्ट. अच्छा, फोर्ट जो है लाल किला, जैसे पहले किला मुबारक कहते थे, it has been conceived as a paradisical theme. That is why you have the like द रिवर, नहरें बहिश्त है, सब कुछ है उसमें, तो बिल्कुल जैसे जन्नत में है कि वहां पे नहरें होंगी और पेड़ होंगे और पौधे होंगे और गार्डन्स होंगे, उस तरह से ही ये जो है लाल किला बना है. तो इट इज लाइक बीन बिल्ड लाइक फिरदौस. तो फिर क्या जब है वो फिरदौस के बारे में लाइक दिख रहे, और जो हम देखते हैं वो तो एक बहुत डिप्लीटेड फोर्ट देखते हैं ना, हम उसको वो नहीं देखते हैं कि जिस तरह से फोर्ट था.
Okay, now we are at the fag end of our interview. So quickly, a rapid fire. Can you debunk one myth around the Mughals? There might be many. Just if you can debunk one myth.
One myth for the Mughals?
Mughals, yeah.
क्या कहते हैं, let's talk of the Taj Mahal. Like के ताजमहल जो था वो मंदिर था, तेजो महालय था. जो किताब मुगल्स were very scrupulous about writing their records. तो ये फरमान मौजूद है जो जयपुर के, उसमें उसकी कॉपी जयपुर के जो कापड़ द्वारा कलेक्शन उसमें है कि ये महल आलिया था राजा मान सिंह का, और शाहजहां ने उनके ग्रैंडसन से जय सिंह से उसको 4 हवेलियां दे के लिया. And like they even describe the 4 havelis in that farman, and nowhere does it talk of it being a mandir. It says Mahal-e Aliya. So that this is something that I talk a lot about कि ये फरमान जो है वो मौजूद है, लेकिन ये कापड़ द्वारा collection is under dispute, so it's not, but it's available in books. I have posted it many times on Twitter also.
Right. One Mughal dish that has survived and is relished today, and please don't say biryani.
हाँ, बिरयानी जो है वो तो बहुत बाद में आई है. मुगल तो पुलाव खाते थे.
अच्छा.
खिचड़ी खाते थे बहुत ज्यादा. Like in fact औरंगजेब की एक लेटर है टू हिज लेटर के जाड़े के टू हिज सन, वो कहते हैं कि जाड़े में खिचड़ी ज्यादा कोई चीज और टेस्टी नहीं होती। वो तो बहुत खिचड़ी खाते थे, जहांगीर बहुत खिचड़ी खाते थे। आईने अकबर में क्या कहते हैं वो दिया हुआ है, खिचड़ी की तरकीब भी दी हुई है।
Right.
So
One not known monument, Mughal monument in Delhi. One not known. पता ही नहीं लोगों को.
अच्छा, नॉट मुगल बट लेट अस इट इज फिरोज शाह तुगलक के जमाने का भूली भटियारी का महल। इट वाज अ हंटिंग लॉज ऑफ फिरोज शाह तुगलक एंड इट्स नियर करोल बाग के वो जो करोल बाग के आसपास है, झंडे वाला के पास। एंड इट्स अ लवली प्लेस बट इट्स इन ruins नाउ। सो
Okay.
क्योंकि वहां पे चारों तरफ काफी झाड़ झंकार है, से लोग वहां अकेले जाने में घबराते हैं, बट इट्स अ
Right.
लवली एनवायरनमेंट।
Right. And one thing you did not like about Sanjay Leela Bhansali's Hira Mandi.
ओ माय गॉड, what did I like? I'll have to talk about that first.
Okay, what did you like?
What did I like? I liked
अच्छा.
Richa Chatta's and Sonakshi Sinha's character. It was very,
Okay.
very developed the characters. But वही है ना कि देखो आप लाहौर की बात कर रहे हो, लाहौर में पंजाबी कल्चर था, पंजाबी बोली जाती थी, इतनी उर्दू नहीं बोली जाती थी जो लखनऊ दिल्ली में बोली जाती है। दूसरे लाहौर में इतने नवाब नहीं थे, नवाब कल्चर इज अगेन अवध, तो वो बहुत मिशमैश कर दिया। उसके बाद फिर वो जो कपड़े भी पहन रहे थे, वो कपड़े भी थोड़े से ज़रा वो मतलब दे लुक्ड ब्यूटीफुल बट दे वर नॉट लाइक एज़ एक्यूरेट एज़
Accurate. Hmm.
Plus, I felt that he missed out on the opportunity of making a very sympathetic picture of the courtesans. Courtesans were very highly, like respected people of that society, but वो औरतों के यहाँ घरों में नहीं जाते थे कि ईद बकरीद में आप चले गए उनकी दादी को विश
Hmm.
करने, जैसे मनीषा
Hmm.
कोइराला जाती है। देयर वाज अ बिग डिफरेंस। वो आते अगर घर तो मर्दाने में रहते, जनाने में कभी नहीं आते। जनाने में औरतें जो थी वो केप्ट अवे फ्रॉम ऑल दैट। दूसरे
Okay.
लाइक would have shown a very sympathetic way of जो, बट इसमें क्या दिखा रहे हैं कि एक दूसरे को सिर्फ मार काट रहे हैं। Everybody is
Hmm.
out to just run down the other. So that kind of thing they should have been, some kind of sisterhood, some kind of you know uh, अच्छा जैसे दूसरे गाने वाले भी थे कि देशो वो बसंत का गाना दिखाते। पंजाब में लाहौर में इट इज बुल्ले शाह एंड बाबा फरीद हुआ वेरी पॉपुलर। सो
Hmm.
लाइक दे वुड बी सिंगिंग दोस पंजाबी सॉन्ग्स, सूफी ही गाना गाना था तो दे वुड बी सिंगिंग इधर बाबा फरीद और बाबा बुल्ले शाह। तो ये बहुत सारी चीजें थी जिसमें उन्होंने रिसर्च करी नहीं। और वो जो
Right.
जेवर थे वो भी बस ओवर द टॉप थे, मतलब उस तरह से जेवर नहीं कोई पहनता है।
Chaliye. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rana Sapiji, to talking to us. We hope to soon talk again.
थैंक
Thank
यू
you
सो
so much.
मच।
Thank you.